morning. Welcome, everyone, to the first episode of Auto Hour, hosted by the Exclusive Collection. My name is Chris Darnell. I'm the CEO of the Exclusive Collection. I'm here with my COO. Would you like to introduce yourself?
My name is Cameron Langshaw, COO of the Exclusive Collection, bringing you guys a podcast all about cars, news, industry topics, and to help out buyers with Q&As.
That's a nice way to summarize what we do. We were going to take the next hour to kind of go into what we do as a company, what our goals are, and things that we'd like to do to help out people in the community where we live and work. A little bit of our background, where we've come from, and where we're going to. So, Cameron, you want to start off with what we do as a company?
Yeah, so we are a car consulting and concierge service, breaking down basically everything in the car buying world, car selling world, and just about anything revolving around tires and an engine. So basically, to get started with everything, let's start off with buying and selling. We're going to help you guys go around the dealership, hassle-free, no stress, get away from the games that everybody plays. And that's kind of what I wanted to get into, and maybe have you break down, start off, and explain how everything works and why we branched off from the dealership industry and started our own thing.
Yeah, so I just left a position with the Mercedes-Benz dealership. I was a general sales manager for 7 years. And the one thing that never changed, no matter how long I was there, the way we did things, was people's perception of buying a car, or the process of coming into a dealership or interacting with a dealership. And for me, that got consistently frustrating over time, so I thought it was time to kind of branch out and flip the script and try to get on the consumer side and use the knowledge that I have from the industry that I've been in for a long period of time to make the process a little smoother and try to change that stigma that the automotive industry has. So there's a lot of things that happen, behind the scenes that dealerships do or don't do, and don't necessarily disclose or, have to make customers aware of certain things throughout the process. And for us as a company, we offer a service that allows a customer to come to us and tell us what they want for a new or used car. They pay us a flat fee, and we use all of our knowledge to find them the car they want, so that they don't have to, deal with the stresses of the process. A lot of people I can't tell you how many times I hear, I hate buying a car, I hate buying a car. And it's something we only do every 2 or 3 years. The average person keeps their car about 28 months. So for us, I think it's about, trying to help people through that process so that they don't have to worry about it, whether they just don't like doing it or don't have the time to do it. Not to stray off, but we just helped a customer out. They got their car delivered yesterday. Guys, going through a health scare right now, but also totaled out his car about 2 weeks ago, and just doesn't have the ability to go through the buying process. So he came to me and said, "This is what I'm looking for." And within 48 hours, I had 2 distinct options for him, 2 vehicles with, each individual pros, and said, "We can get either of these cars at X price delivered to your doorstep, and this is which one I think is best." We made the decision collectively to go with a certain vehicle. The dealership handled car paperwork. Everything was delivered to his house. Seamless process. And, that I think is the stuff that we look for. You don't get that on the dealership side in the car industry. You don't, your motives are definitely a little different when you're in a management position at a store, and, all you're worried about is the bottom line and volume and keeping, the powers above happy. So it was nice to really flip and, take somebody that was in a really unique situation of not having a car but needing one and going through a medical issue, and to take that load off was really, really cool, because it took a matter of, 20 or 30 minutes of input from him, and we had done everything else for him to be able to get a car delivered to his house. So That's really nice. And I think the flip side of it is you've got the dealership, and now you've got all these avenues of buying a car online, like Vroom and Carvana, Shift, which are trying to do the same thing we are, except there's no real human interaction at all. You go on, you click the car you want to buy, you look at pictures of it, you don't test drive it, and you go to a location that doesn't have any staff to pick it up, or they have a random truck driver put it on one of their branded flatbeds and deliver it to your house. So there's two extremes right now in the industry, and one is, the completely disconnected process of buying a car online, and the other is the dealership, which people just don't enjoy doing. And the people that do enjoy doing it are the old school, go in and haggle and beat up the dealership like it's a game, and that's fine, but in the long run, that's not very productive. So
Yeah, I think to touch on that is going into a dealership, a lot of people expect games, expect to be pushed around, expect to be kind of haggled with, not really the bottom line. And I think that's where both of us really didn't enjoy the dealership industry side. We are doing everything mainly for our clients, for you guys, our viewers, the people who live in our town, people who come to us far, near, whatever it is. And in a dealership world, the management, the higher-ups, the guys in charge are just pushing everybody in the store, from service to sales to whatever category or section you're going out of. How much money can we make? How can we get them in a car today? How can we bully them into buying this vehicle? What can we do to make them sign the papers today? They need to get them in the car, get them over the curb. That's a popular saying.
Yep.
From a very,
you
very famous person.
You gotta love the sayings of the dealership. There were so many, like the feel of the wheel seals the deal. And it's just so corny, but so unnecessary, because it kind of perpetuates a mindset on both parties of how buying a car is going to go. And it's interesting you touch on, like you got to get them in a car, get them in a car, get them in a car. And there's always this pressure from above, because it's a results, sales-based position at a dealership, that if you don't get them in a car immediately, you're never going to see them again. And you and I were talking about this the other day, and I feel like my point was pretty good on it, where, we in the industry are taught that the average consumer visits 1.1 dealerships. So, okay, that's average person's going to visit one dealership before they buy a car.
Yeah.
The problem with that is we think that of every single consumer, and when a consumer comes in to buy a car, we treat them as if this is our only shot to get them and get them a new car. And if we don't, they're not going to buy a car from us. We'll never see them again. And the problem with that is you end up treating them differently than what is probably a more productive atmosphere of actually caring about what they're buying and how they're buying it, and if it works for them and their lifestyle and their family and whatever it is. And because we're so blinded by the statistical aspect of it, we just continue to treat people the same way, and big surprise, they continue to act the same way and only visit 1.1 dealerships. So, for us, we're not against dealerships, but I think we want to use our knowledge to help people out there that just don't want to deal with it, or don't understand the process, or are worried they're going to get taken advantage of, because the reality is it does happen out there. Every single day people are buying cars, and there's dealers out there that, whether they're, holding a curtain over your eyes or whatever it is, how they're doing it, they're there to make money, and it's a business, and I understand that. But for me, I just always felt that it was more productive to try to make it, an even negotiation.
So to summarize, we are for our clients. We're for the people. Yep. We are over dealing with listening to upper management, people that are just in it for the money, people that are just in it to bully people into a car. I can't tell you how 90% of my client base, and all of them, have appreciated me as a salesman back when I was a salesman with multiple different dealerships, about how I was just straightforward with them. I was honest. I didn't beat around the bush. People came in looking for a specific car. They were so gung-ho on a car, I could have sold them to it. But I know, hey, look, with my expertise and my background in vehicles, I can tell you that this, what you want, what your prereqs are, this isn't the car for you. This isn't what you're looking for. I know exactly what you're looking for, and I might be wrong, but at least we can take a look at it. And I would even send people to other dealerships. Hey, man, everything you like about this car is fantastic. There's a model that does it slightly better.
Yeah, what is tough, or another kind of contributing factor of why dealerships act the way they do, is because most of them are one brand. You have to figure out how to set your product apart from the others, and most of the time that comes in a negative way. And it's, how can I bash the other product, or how can I say ours is better than theirs, or why they should buy X, instead of how it should be, where it's what car works best for what you are trying to do, or what you do every day in your life. And we had a customer last week, a referral from a friend of mine who's moving up to the Bay Area and was looking for advice, just advice between a few different models. And he was in between a Mercedes CLS, BMW 5 Series, and a Cadillac CT6. The guy frequently has people in his car in the rear seats, and for me, if I was still at Mercedes, I'd have to figure out how to spin that the CLS is a great car and this is the car you need, even though I know in the back of my head, the moment you sit a person that's over 5'8" in the back of that car, it is useless. But it was nice for me to say that this time and go, listen, the Mercedes is not the car for you. Like, you will absolutely hate that if you're going to have people in the back seat of the car. It's a 5-seater, technically. Used to be a 4-seater when it first came out, had a center console. They took that out so that they could say it was a 5-seater. But the reality is, if you're above 5'8", you get in the back of that car, you're miserable. So it's nice to actually supply consumers with information that will benefit them instead of benefit the dealership in the long run. So that's only one part of the business, is trying to help people buy cars. We can do everything from just find the car you're looking for to find it, advise or negotiate on pricing, all the way to deliver it to your doorstep, which we've already done a few times. And for us, I think it's nice to have the option, no matter what brand you're looking for, from a Honda all the way to a Pagani or something super exotic. We're doing it all right now because the goal is really to just help consumers through the process with the knowledge that we have, so that we can try to change, even if it's just a few people, we can change that stigma of what the industry is.
And yeah, like you said right there at the end, what the industry is. I think the biggest thing, and if you ask anybody, right, who is the most corrupt person to work with, or what are the shadiest people to work with, what's the shadiest kind of industry to go into, a lot of people, and if you Google it, it's in the top 3 for, salesmen. Salesmen have this stigma, car salesmen specifically, have this stigma all the way from leading back to the 70s or the 80s, that they're corrupt guys. They're just trying to bully you into the car. They're trying to make as much money off you as they can, X, Y, and Z. And I think that still exists in the industry, sad to say. I've worked with people, I've seen people, I've gone into dealerships and experienced it myself, that people are still corrupt. They're still shady. They're just trying to make a paycheck. They don't care if they get you in the right car or the wrong car. I've worked at a dealership before where a guy came in, bought a car, and I saw him 2 weeks later, and somehow the salesman convinced him to get a 5-seater when he had 2 kids in car seats and one and not, and a wife. So you got a 5-seater. Well, you put 2 car seats in the back seat of an SUV, and it's only 5 seats. Everybody knows that has kids or experienced a car seat before that no one's sitting in the middle, and you can't put 2 car seats side by side, one on the left and one in the middle, that'll even fit.
It's brutal.
Yeah. So it's just, at the end of the day, our main goal, really what we're trying to accomplish and what we're trying to show to everybody, is car buying should not be a process where you feel worried to go talk to a salesman. Car buying should not be a process where when you get on the dealership, you have to tell your significant other or your kids, don't say anything, we're just going to look at this car. I'm not going to give in to everything. A lot of people came in and they would go, I just want to see numbers. I don't want to test drive the car. It's like they were scared to go through the process because they were worried what the outcome potentially could be or how they might potentially get treated. So with our car concierge and consulting company, our main goal is to help you buy, help you sell, and help you do just about anything else that revolves around cars. If you need window tinting, wrapping, ceramic coating, detailing, you need mechanical, everything and anything, one-stop shop for everything automotive. And we're here to help everybody understand that this industry should not be filled with tricks and games and no one should be scared to go into the car buying process. They should be happy. They should be engaged, right? Like you said, cars, everybody buys them. People keep them for an average of 28 months. But at the end of the day, the car is the second largest purchase someone makes.
Well, you corrected me on that the other day and said, in case you're buying a PJ, then it's number 3. But
Granted, yes. Granted, the 1% of the population, if you buy jets or yachts, no, we can't help you there yet, to our knowledge. But yeah, I mean, for the normal average consumer, a car is the second biggest purchase you'll ever make. You have a house, and then you have a car. And right now with the market and how the industry is, cars are through the roof exponentially with markups and everything like that. And that's another thing. Our goal is to let you go and buy the car of your dreams or the car that you really want. Granted, it's, like you said, a Pagani, a Bugatti, Lamborghini, or if you just really want a Toyota 4Runner and you don't want to pay 10 grand over on a TRD Pro like all the stores are asking.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we have an extensive base right now of dealerships that we've got established relationships with among multiple brands to pretty much help out anyone that we need to immediately, and that's growing every single day. You know, I've formed some really good relationships over the years, not just in Mercedes, but outside, you know, all the competitors that we had through the years, and just through word of mouth. You know, guys move around, people leave dealerships and go to work at other brands, and we've got probably 300 or 400 dealerships right now within our database that we can send out a request to within a moment's notice saying, you know, we're trying to help somebody with a car. This is what, you know, we can do in terms of what they want to pay or what the market supports. Who can help us? And, you know, I think as a dealer, that's kind of a valuable resource. You know, most of the leads we get at a dealership are someone cruising the internet and it says, put in your information here. They send over their information. You get a phone number and an email and nothing else. But for us as a company, we do the fact-finding and everything before we even reach out to the dealership. So by the time that I get, you know, to the point of, hey, I need this car, I know how they're buying it, what they're doing, what their trade-in is if they have one, what their, you know, everything about the transaction. And I think that's oftentimes one of the toughest parts for a dealership is to feel like they're getting all the information from a customer. But because we're not a dealership, we're here to help the customer. It's very easy for us to collect that information. And for a dealership, for us to pass that along as your first point of contact or your initial lead is monumentally different than what the industry actually creates for lead traffic through Car Gurus, Carfax, whatever it is.
Absolutely.
Auto Trader. It's an email and a phone number most of the time, but for us, we send over, you know, a full scope of the entire deal. And why would you not want to interact with us on that? I mean, it makes it so much easier.
Exactly. And I think, and just to touch on that topic, bottom line, we're here to help. We're here to move forward. We're here to make clients go through an easier process. With this podcast, our goal is to have us fully engulfed in the automotive industry. Behind the camera, we are massive car guys. That's why we're in the automotive industry. Yes, we like to help people find the right car and experience the right service in this industry, but we also love everything cars. All right, behind the camera, what you guys don't see is that we, with a TV in our office, we have Top Gear and F1 races and everything going on in the background, staying completely up to date to the industry, just not for our clients, but mainly for ourselves. And with that knowledge, we can share that and help people move forward. So in the podcast, like I covered in the beginning, we're going to be going over everything car buying. We're going to be going over industry news, maybe what cars just got released. For an example, in industry news, right? The Porsche RS Spyder just got released.
Yep.
Another one is, which I find funny, and people are giving hate, and also people are thinking it's pretty awesome. But there's some billionaire young dude that lifted a Senna GTR into
into his apartment.
Into his penthouse apartment. I think it was like 30 or 50 floors up.
That was everywhere this weekend.
Yeah, dude craned it up. And I guess he was getting a bunch of hate saying like, hey, it's never going to be driven on the road, which granted, yeah, if you want to drive it, it's not like, let me grab the keys and pull it out of the garage. No, let me go ahead and remove 3 windows and then crane lift it out of my penthouse. But granted, he probably has a 50 car collection. He bought that car because he loves it. And it's a piece of art.
Also, if he wants it out, he can take it out. Like the apartment, I think, was $25 million, and the car was worth like $2.5 or $3 million. So
yeah,
in the scope of things, like Joe Schmo isn't like he didn't just dump his life savings into craning this thing up into some random apartment. Like he can at the drop of a hat be like, no, I need this thing out of here and put something else up there. Like it didn't bother me that he did that. I actually thought it's pretty cool. I mean, I've seen, a lot of people throughout time, whether it's in their business or their house, it's pretty eye-opening to have a full-size car in your residence or your business. There's a watch guy I follow on YouTube, and he recently got a Formula One car and put it in the middle of his office, and they had to take it apart into pieces and bring it up and then build it back up, and he's got a full-size F1 car, slanted, hanging up against a wall. That stuff's pretty cool. I mean, for the true, car industry or car nuts, that stuff is wild. To see a Pagani Huayra completely on its side, with a support going through it, sitting, in your living room, that stuff's wild. I fully support that. If you have the means to do that in the cars that you can spare your $2 or $3 million car to go sit on a wall, that's fine to me. And a lot of people consider super high-end cars pieces of art.
100%. I mean, look at Pagani's. Their clusters are made by a watchmaker.
Oh, they are art. Absolutely beautiful. If you haven't seen one, you need to figure out how to see one, because the craftsmanship that goes into every piece of that vehicle is unbelievable. And that might sound stupid to some people, like, wow, this guy's really excited about, an instrument cluster or knobs in a car. But until you've seen that in person and understand the craftsmanship and what goes into that, it's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. So with the podcast, as you can see, fully engulfed in the automotive world. With the company, we also plan on, once we get to that point, establishing rallies, cars and coffees, everything that we can do to be engulfed into the automotive world. And not for a business standpoint, just for a way for consumers to enjoy the shared passion in the automotive world. And I think that's a big one right now, especially too with the fact that I feel like a lot of car events, years ago I used to go to a bunch, and I feel like a lot of them now are taken over with street takeovers. The car culture is getting a somewhat bad reputation within the communities, within officers of the law. I mean, I know during Car Week, a lot of people that we live and where we are in Monterey, California, a lot of the older crowd hates when Car Week comes in town because they associate it with burnouts and donuts and outrageous driving. And granted, there are people that do that out there, which we do not condone.
No.
If you have a private road that is being watched and spectated and everything is properly railed off, go ahead, right? I mean, the Hoonigan team.
Yeah, going down to Thermal in Southern California if you want to do that. You can do that all you want there, but don't be doing it on public roads.
Yeah, no, definitely not on public roads. But like I said, our main goal, just share our passion. Share our love for cars, help you guys find cars and buy cars. And the other thing we're going to be doing is Q&As, right? If you are going to go through the dealership industry, if you do live way too far, or you don't find, in your opinion, if you don't think going through us is beneficial for you and you want to stick to that dealership experience, then that's totally fine as well. Or if you just need overall questions and help on what kind of cars you're looking for when it comes to, hey, I'm looking for a car to go off-roading and a car that's going to hold equity, or whatever the question or answer may be, and you want our opinion, if you value that, we can help you there as well.
Yeah, we give out countless pieces of information throughout the week, and I don't want anything in return for information. For me, it's just nice to inform people of what goes on and how they can better their experience or save money, or if they're making a good decision or bad decision, in my opinion, based off what they're looking to do. It's just nice to help people, and I think I spent so much time in the dealership side of it that you feel like that's the opposite of what you do, because it's always somebody breathing down your neck going, oh gosh, you only sold this many cars last month, now you need to do this or else, and then the or else causes you to do things that may not agree with you morally or how you think things should be done. But when you get that that threat of, I better do this or else, then you start doing stuff that just perpetuates that mindset that the industry is out to get you, and it's all tricks, and how are they screwing you over, whatever it may be. And we just want to change that. I mean,
I can't tell you how many times I've had clients come in and, oh, I've watched YouTube videos, I've read blogs, I know all the tricks, I know everything you guys are going to pull, and at the end of the day, it's like, that's great. But realistically, what you don't know is, okay, you watched a YouTube video, you read a blog that had 5 to 10 tricks in the automotive industry and what they're going to do to try to sell you and how they're going to bully you into buying this car. But there's probably a total of 300 tricks that I've heard from managers to tell me, hey, this is what you need to do. Oh, I know that client walked out on you today, but, I've had a manager before go, yeah, I know they left. They're probably never going to come back and buy a car from you, and you should have done this. And I've told them, no, I know they're going to come back. I'm not going to bother them. I gave them everything. I told them exactly what they needed to hear in the sense of the price, what I can do, what I know that you will be willing to go down to, not just some Joe Schmo beat around the bush. Maybe I can help you out. Maybe I can't. This is the perfect car for you. It's just, I love cars, and I want to help people get away from the bullying aspect. I was tired of it, and I didn't appreciate it to myself. Being in the industry, working for the industry, I got bullied as well if I didn't bully you guys. If I wasn't going to tie you down to my chair, waterboard you, and make you buy the car, I got yelled at when you left.
Oh, yeah, you get me out to be the bad guy. Like, how could you let them leave? And you don't care about, anyone at the dealership and blah, blah, blah. And it's just not, it's not productive. The way that, the pressure comes down from above, it just continues to push. Treat people as if you're never going to see them again. Get them into a car that day. Don't care how you do it, what you have to say to them, what you have to do. Get them into it, or you're never going to see them again. And if you don't, you're terrible at what you do. So you better figure out how to do it and get it done. It's so stupid. And, I couldn't keep doing it. I felt like I was living the definition of insanity, is doing the same thing over and over every day, expecting it to change. And the reality is it's never going to change, because the players that run the business, the players that ran the business 20 years ago trained the people that run the business now. And it's just this continual cycle of, the people who are willing to do the stuff that consumers hate about the car industry, unfortunately, are the ones that continue to succeed and excel, because they're willing to do whatever they have to, and management realizes that, and they continue to move up through the pipeline. And then before you know it, they're training the next, group that comes up. And if you start doing things right, or you say, no, that's not the right car for this customer, you're looked down on at the dealership, or you didn't get their information before you left because you weren't willing to drag them in and sit them in the car, or sit them in your chair until they absolutely said, no, I have to leave. It's tough, and there's nonstop training at the dealerships to try to overcome these objections from people. And, there's all these programs dealerships use to try to educate salespeople on ways to overcome objections. And objections are a normal part of sales. But I think the problem is, instead of, figuring out how we overcome those objections, the mindset should be is, how do we create an atmosphere where objections don't come up, because it actually seems like we're personally invested in that individual's decision on how to spend their money. Right?
Exactly. I've gotten clients to come in and talk about the hardships they're going through. Hey, my car got totaled. I have bad credit. I'm behind on payments, XYZ, whatever the cases are. Morally, I understand where you're coming from. I want to do everything in my power to help you get the cheapest price, get the lowest payment, XYZ. And I've let them walk out because the car financially wasn't a good decision, and they made that decision on their behalf. Right. I won't make that decision for you or anybody. And I've gotten chewed out because, you didn't run a credit app and you didn't get them to sit down. It's like, dude, they have bad credit. I'm not going to run a credit app for them if I know they're not going to buy the car. Yeah, I hear you. You're going through a lot of hardships. That must be really painful. Let me ding your credit again.
Yeah, let me put you through the ringer for no reason. That's what
let me just torture you, so that when you leave here today and you decide not to buy a car from me, or wherever you decide to buy a car, let me make it a harder experience for you.
Yeah, it's the industry just kills.
The industry sucks. I'm going to say it. The industry does suck. I hated working for the industry. I hated going to work every day, having somewhat high morals, at least that I think I have. At least I think I'm a pretty good person deep down inside. But I hated going to work today knowing, you know what, if I don't lie to a client, I'm going to get you out. And it got to a point where I would not lie to a client. I would be completely honest with them. And I would sit them down, but I would lie to my managers. And I hated that as well. I would go into the manager's office and say, I did all your tricks. I did everything you told me to do, but it just didn't work. And then he would tell me, well, go say this.
Right.
Well, they're just trying to argue.
There's always
on
a
rate.
rebuttal. There's always
100%.
You got to figure it out, and you got to grind through it, and you got to blah, 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 put them in it, and, let's go back and forth 30 times to negotiate. And it's just, I can't stand that part of the industry anymore.
100%. And, I mean, there's so many steps to purchasing a vehicle from just looking around. Some people have a need vehicle, and some people have a want vehicle. The need is you're going from A to B, going from home to work and work to home, or whatever it is, taking the kids to school, doing day-to-day tasks. And then the want is people who want a two-door sports car that is going to make people turn their heads, something that's loud and has a sex appeal compared to the typical four-door sedan that you just need to take your kids to school or whatever it might be. And some people might just come on out of the lot to look. What you don't know is when that salesman comes out to you to talk to you, the manager that's staring at you through the window in the office has told that salesman, you better not let him leave until you test drive him or you have all of his information. It's like, hey, dude, look, Joe Schmo outside just wanted to see the inside of the car. I'm not getting his social, his phone number, his address, and the first name of his firstborn child. I don't need to do all that. Great. Be nice. Let him experience. And if he wants the car, he'll come back.
Right.
It's just the way it works. And it's crazy because we can go on for hours and days and weeks about everything the dealerships do, from tricks to lies to how they
things
act.
They don't have to disclose or how they disclose it, or there's so many things that go into it. And there's things that people should ask for every time they buy a car. They should ask for, the service history of the vehicle. I think that's pretty straightforward, or Carfax at least. But every used car, and on the used car side it's a little different, but used car goes through a recon process at each dealership, and they have items that they approve and decline on every single car. And there should be no reason that a dealership is not willing to show that to you. And anytime they go, oh yeah, I can't show you that, or run, there's something wrong. So it was great. The Toyota Highlander that we ended up getting delivered to the customer yesterday, this dealership was great to deal with, and maybe part of it was because I gave all the information that I had to right off the bat and made it as easy as I could for them, instead of them trying to fact find and build rapport and go through all the process. But I said, I need to see what you guys did in recon. Sent me over everything they did, everything they didn't do, how much money they spent. That's the kind of stuff that you look for in a dealership. Now, had they said, no, I don't know if I can do that, or blah, I would have stopped at that point, moved on to another car, because it just doesn't make sense. So there's so many parts to the process and things that we can help you with. I don't know. So that's actually just one part of what we do as a business, is helping people buy cars.
One category of kind of where we branch off from and what we do differently compared to the rest.
Yeah, so the other one that we can help with is selling your car, whether you need to get into a new one or not, or you've got a collection and you're trying to get the top bid for your car. It's another thing that people absolutely hate to do, because most dealerships now are, you got to bring it in so we can inspect it and give you the full value of the vehicle, right? I'm sure there's plenty of people out there who've heard that exact response for somebody, or gotten an email that says, I need to see the car, or my manager needs to see it to give you the full value of the car. And that's great. Like, there's a part to bringing the car in, having it looked at in person, so that you wouldn't go buy a car, right, without looking at it. And I get it.
100%.
So for us, we essentially will do that one time with a customer. We meet up, we look at the car, we take as many detail. I think we took, like, the Corvette we took like 100 pictures.
113 to be exact.
113 pictures. And we take that information, and we relayed it. I think we had 51 bids for a customer on this Corvette within 48 hours. Now, for a general consumer, they're going to do the dance of taking it in to maybe 2-3 dealerships, depending on where they live and how many stores are close.
10 if you get someone committed.
Oh, yeah. But it's, people don't have the time to go through that process, or maybe they have the time, but they just don't want to do it. I mean, it's not like you pop in 2 minutes later, they tell you what it's worth, and you're on your way. They are always trying to sit you down and go through the process. So to give you an idea of, the range of bids that you can get in the industry, we got, I think the lowest bid we had on that car was 51,000, and the top bid was 60,000.
To correct you, 49,000.
Oh, 49 was,
yep,
yeah.
49,000 was our lowest bid.
For us to say, as a consumer, it would have taken you, 51 dealerships to get that full scope. One of the last stores that we talked to was the one that we got the $60,000 bid from, and that's the one that we ended up going with. That was a fantastic value for that car. And for us, we charge a flat percentage only if the vehicle sells. So we're doing all the work. We'll do the marketing. We can, list your car in traditional auction format. We have multiple resources, just like we do on the buying side, that we can reach out to within hours to get solid information or bids on cars that we're trying to help consumers sell. And that's nice too. It's nice to be able to save people the time and know what, we know what the dealership's going to ask for. We know the word tracks that they're going to use. We know everyone's going to hit us with, when can you bring it in so we can take a look at it and how to get around that. And that's having the detailed pictures or the service history or everything that we gather one time with the customer instead of having them, on their own going out to 2, 3, 4, 5 stores doing it every single time.
I think the biggest thing too is that a lot of our contacts in our network of people, and as we're constantly expanding and growing off of that, I think what it is when someone works with us, one of our contacts, they know us. They know we've been in the industry. We know their word tracks and exactly how they're going to kind of put things out, lay it out for us. We've experienced that, and we've been told to do that. A lot of people in the day-to-day life that have never worked in the automotive industry don't know that. And I think what's nice with us is we can get those crazy, wide variety of numbers from 49 to 60,000 because people know us. They know we've been in the industry. Our contacts have worked with us before. But if you are just a day-to-day consumer and hey, man, I have a Camry, a Corvette, or whatever the model make is, you're going to go, what typically people do is they KBB their car. We all do it. We put the car's condition slightly better than what it actually is. Let's be honest with each other. I've done it myself.
Oh, every used car is like new.
Oh, yeah, like new, 100%. Excellent. Paint
every time
is
we
perfect.
talked to somebody about their car when I was at the dealership, it was, it's showroom ready. It was always showroom ready. Until they brought it in, and 2 of the rims were curved, and the bumper was missing. It was,
hey man, you have a crack in your bumper.
We never want to admit the real condition of the vehicle, but for us, we take that part of out of it because we know what a dealership is going to look for.
But bottom line, we all want to say our car is in great condition, or whatever it is. But when it comes down to it, and you as a consumer that have never been in the automotive industry, or don't have connections in the industry, and the people don't know you, when you take your car in, they put you through the ringer on the value of that car because it's what they're trained to do. It's how they're going to make the most money. If they can sell you a car at top dollar and they can buy your car at the lowest dollar, their profit margins are huge. And another little trick is if you want more money for your car, great, they might give you a little bit more, but the marked up price they gave you on the car you're going to buy, they're never going to move on that. So they find ways to move the money around so they can make their target goal. But to you, it seems like they gave you a huge deal. But they didn't. They just moved everything around. It's just corrupt. Not a fan of it. Yeah. And we're here to help.
Yep. Yeah. It's
plain and simple. We're here to make your experience smooth, simple, hassle-free. We want to get you the most money for your car because at the end of the day, you'll be happy. We'll be happy that we can help someone.
Yeah, it only motivates us to get as much money as possible because instead of the dealership side where they've got to get it as cheap as possible. For us, we are paid a flat percentage on what the car sells for. So the more we're able to get for a customer, the more it benefits us as a business as well. But it's that role reversal of we're now on the consumer side doing everything we can to get you every last dollar for that car because it now helps both of us instead of it helping the dealership.
And to touch on that, to help the consumers understand, because some people might say, well, look, if I'm going to sell a car, I could just take it to the dealership. They'll buy it from me, and I can buy my new car. Why would I take it to you guys if you're taking a percentage? Right? Well, you're just taking more money from me. Well, granted, the Corvette, let's use that example. A car we sold in under 48 hours. That guy would have gotten $49,000 if he went anywhere else.
Yeah, even if you took the time to shop it around to, 10, 15 dealerships, you might have got somewhere in the low 50s.
Maybe let's say mid 50s.
Yeah.
Let's say high 50s, right? We're going to go up to the high 50 mark. You got the high 50s. Let's say you're going to give us $1,000. Well, why am I going to give you $1,000? Well, if you got $57,000 for the car, but we got the bid at 60, you give us $1,000, you're still making $2,000 more than what you would have. At the end of the day, yes, you give us a flat fee. We're all here, any business, right, is here to make money, but we're also here to help our consumers. So granted, you do give us a flat fee or whatever it might be, you're still going to get way more.
We're on the right side of the battle.
Exactly.
In our position.
We're battling with you guys.
Yeah.
We bully the dealerships. The dealerships don't bully you.
Yeah, the dealer might say something like, well, give me as much information as possible so I can go to bat for you. And the reality is, it's give me as much information as possible so I can hold it against you.
Yeah, I love the wordplay of, I'm on your side. No, you're not.
No, you're not.
You're not there.
You're on another side of a desk.
You've tried to get my credit app already.
You can't even remember my first name, but you want my firstborn child as a down payment. Yeah, that's not how it works.
You need an arm and a leg. And the other thing, right, is just everything about it. So we're here to help. We're here to teach you guys. We're here to share our knowledge and love and passion about cars. We're here to put a podcast out every week on Tuesdays and just kind of go with the flow. Enjoy life. Share the love, share the art.
Yep.
And have a fun time.
Yep. And not to transition, but there are a few more things that we do as well. We've only covered really two main parts of it, and those are buying and selling. But we've partnered with who we think are kind of some of the best or the best representatives of sublet work in the area. And for those of you that don't know what that is, that's work done outside of a dealership. So whether it's, repairing a wheel or fixing a cracked windshield, we can do those things. But we also have people that we've teamed up with to produce, vinyl wraps for vehicles, full vinyl wraps, PPF, which is short for paint protection film. We can do window tint, multiple varieties on that. There's a lot of things that we can help with. And I think the part where we come into play on there versus you going straight to them is some of those businesses don't have the time or the ability to interact with a customer on a personal basis to try to figure out what they actually want to do or what works best. Maybe ceramic coat's better on the car than PPF. Maybe that makes more sense than doing a full wrap. I think for us, we have the time and the resources to actually go through that, and gather full information with the customer versus the businesses directly, which are, kind of like a dealership where they respond to a lead and it either works or it doesn't. If it doesn't, they move on. And for us, I think we're constantly trying to figure out how to make things work for the consumer and what makes sense for everybody involved. So we've partnered up on that. And then the last thing that we offer as well is storage or collection management. If you're not familiar with the Monterey area, if you haven't been out here for a car week, if you are a car person, you need to figure it out because the amount of specialty, exotic, supercars that are here in this area is absolutely remarkable. The things that you see, cars, there's 10 of in the world and there's 2 of them registered here in Monterey. It's pretty crazy, but a huge part of that is managing collections for consumers in the area. So maybe you don't live here full time. Maybe you've got too many cars in the fleet to manage on your own, or you just want someone to take the stress off of making sure the car's, charged and maintained in terms of, visual condition and upkeep. We want to help out with that as well. We've got a new facility coming on at the end of the month that gives us the opportunity to house about 35, 40 vehicles, depending upon what they are. But there are places that do it here. There are spots where you can fit, 3, 4 cars, private condos essentially as you would. But for us, I think it's another space that is crucial to the car industry here.
Everything, yeah.
Maybe not so much on the consumer side, but the collector side, we interact with everybody we go to Every Cars and Coffee. We've got our own drive event coming up on the last Friday of every month we do a lot of things with the collector community as well, and we want to offer up services that have been available here in the community, but not necessarily managed properly, if that makes sense. So it doesn't seem like, the ones that do it really strive to continue to grow and help. It's kind of like a stagnant part of the business here in Monterey, and we'd like to continue to grow that aspect or that interaction that customers have with their collector vehicles and how they're preserved and shown and displayed. And, I can announce it now, but we will be hosting a car at the Quail this year on behalf of a customer. So that's a big deal for us. So we will represent that vehicle for them in the show. We are very excited about that. So you'll see us out there if you're going to be out there. If you haven't been, that's got to be my favorite event of the entire, I would say, week, but Car Week is now a good 11 days. I think it's close to 2 weeks. From the first event to the closing on Sunday, it is.
I feel like it's filler events in the beginning, right? I feel like Car Week doesn't really kick off until like the last 4 to 5 days.
Yeah, so I think with one exception, and that's probably the show at Pasadena. The car show that happens at Pasadena, I think, is the first competition of Car Week, and it happens, I think it's night 2 or night 1.
I think it's 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic event. Been to that as well. I don't know what the make is for this year. I want to say it was Ferrari last year.
Yeah, I want to say it's Ferrari. I had a couple buddies come down from the San Jose, San Francisco area that were big Ferrari guys for that one event.
So we will probably be at that event as well. We've done it in the past in a different capacity. But yeah, excited to announce we will be at the Quail this year hosting a vehicle on a customer's behalf. Really looking forward to that and continuing to create lasting relationships in the community.
Absolutely. So if you guys did tune in, if you did stay till the end, if you're interested in what we have to say, if you care about our opinions or our views, well, you guys can tune in every Tuesday. We'll be posting on a variety of platforms, including YouTube. That's one of the main ones. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. We can't wait to share just about everything we have. As you can see, we can ramble on for hours about the car world, from helping you guys or just cool news that's interesting that you guys might have not heard of. We hope to see you guys again.
Yeah, the last thing I want to add, moving forward, it's obviously not the case for our first episode, but moving forward, we're going to cap off every podcast with a question and answer segment. So we'll answer, selected questions from previous week. We'd like you guys to submit any questions that you have about anything automotive related through our Instagram. If you could shoot us a DM, that would be fantastic. We will select a few questions from that to discuss every week as our final 15 minutes in the podcast. Really look forward to doing that. And that's open to everything, whether it's opinion on, an upcoming release or how certain things work in the industry. Please send those questions in. We'd love to help.
And we will leave the Instagram in the description of the video on the variety of platforms.
Yeah, everything will be linked up. We'll make it as seamless as possible so everyone can follow those channels and interact with us in the most convenient way. But, yeah, I think this was a great intro into who we are and what we're doing. And we look forward to seeing everyone out in the community. And we will see you guys next week.
Thank you for tuning in to the Auto Hour. Have a wonderful week, guys.